Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Broken Joker. It's good to be here once again. Today, I wanted to talk about resistance. Resistance when we get close to our goals, when we get wherever we're trying to go, whether it's, you know, going against the depression, trying to get through the depression, trying to thrive after depression. Let's talk about resistance. Let's talk about resistance in your goals. Now, those of you that know me or know my podcast know that I don't like calling them goals. I like accomplishments that I've done or accomplishments that I'm still working on. Goals always seem to have a little bit of failure in the background. It just doesn't seem, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It just doesn't seem as productive, because then you always look back and you think about the goals that you haven't reached yet. The goals, it's just accomplishments and things I have yet to accomplish, is how I look at it. But depression, especially more so than any other case, it will trick you into thinking that there's more resistance than there is as you get close to your accomplishments. So let's say one of your accomplishments that you want to get done is have a podcast. Okay. In your head, your depression is going to tell you things like guests aren't going to want to come on. And then when guests don't get back to you, when people don't get back to you and say they want to be on your show, you're going to think, oh, they don't like me. They know I'm bad at this. I have a terrible voice. I don't look good if you want to put video on there. All these things. I'm too old. That one went through my head. It's resistance. And then little things will happen. You'll have mics that don't work. As you notice, I have new mics set up. Got another one over here too. We're gonna have three pretty soon because we're gonna have a podcast with three people. So we thought that would be cool. But mics broke. Mics broke. I broke my soundboard. Camera broke. That's why I'm using Zoom today. Okay. These things all happen. They happen. Resistance is good. My grandfather was in World War II. He passed away, unfortunately. He was actually my step grandpa. But out of all my grandpas, my favorite. Unbelievably giving man. But he used to say, if you're taking flack, you're over the target. And that's what resistance is. That's all resistance is. It's flack. And you're going to get resistance from so many people. You know why? Because they wanted to do it and they didn't accomplish it. So say it's a podcast, say it's getting up on stage, say it's coaching a youth league. Okay. These are just all things I've done. And so I'm saying, what if it's to be CEO of a company? You're going to get resistance. And then you're going to get self-doubt. Oh, I'm a woman. I'm not going to make it to CEO. Oh, it's a good boys club. I can't get to the top. It's not true. This is all in your head. You're making resistance. There's enough resistance to go around. My earphones didn't work one day. I broke the soundboard. The camera doesn't work one day. The mics don't work another day. You know what I do? I tape a podcast. I figure it out. I go get another mic. It's why I bought extra parts. I bought extra cables, the XLR cables. I bought something that I could actually hook it up to my computer so I can bypass the soundboard. I came up with backup plans. Every time my depression gives me resistance, I come up with a backup plan. That's what I do. I'm like, oh, they're going to say this. They're going to do that. They're going to do this. They're not going to listen to a guy with a mohawk. I do public speaking and I have a mohawk. You think that turns people away? It really doesn't. I look like an old Viking with my beard and my mohawk, which, by the way, is a little wide. I'm going to get it thinned out a little bit. But all these things is all this resistance, all this stuff in your head. That's where it is. And I know it's hard to accept that. It seems like it's coming from out everywhere else. If you're going to do a podcast and you go to interview your first guest and you get into a fender bender on the way there, you know what you do? You still go. I know it's terrible. It's a tough day. You have someone you're going to interview on Zoom. You know what you do? You have a cold, you got the flu, you got COVID, you go interview them. Right? Okay. That's what the medication is for when you're in a crisis. That's what everything else is. that's everything here is there to help you with that resistance. So you got to help yourself sometimes, because there's times you're going to say, you know what? Podcasting is exactly like working out. When I'm thinking about all the podcasts I have to do, I get overwhelmed. But then once I do them, I feel great. Working out's the same way. When I got to get up at 5:30 and go work out, ugh, when that alarm first goes off, but then I go to the gym. And when I leave the gym, guess what? I feel great. I've never left a workout, even ones where I've gotten injured, and said, man, I wish I didn't work out today. It's awesome. It's awesome. If you hear that rumble in the background, that's my neighbor coming home. He has 900 pounds of horsepower in that bad boy. He's got a Corvette. So if you hear that rumbling, that's who it is. But you know what? There's lots of resistance to him buying that Corvette. It's his dream car. He finally bought it. Congratulations to Mo. He's also our sound guy, right? But he met all kinds of resistance on that. All kinds, including from his wife. And he met that resistance, and now she loves it. You can't wipe the smile off her face when she rides in that thing. Okay. So let's put it all together. Let's put it all together. Instantly, when you're looking at your list of things you want to accomplish, and you got to have a list, you have to have a accomplishment list that is things I need to accomplish today, your core things you have to finish. Then, man, those lights keep going out. And then I got a big shiny forehead. I apologize, guys. Like I said, the camera's not working. You got the core things you have to do today, this week, this month, this year, 6 weeks down the road, 12 weeks down the road. You can have all different timetables. Okay. But you need to have them down so you know where they are. And then you need to verbalize. Let people know what you're going to do. When I first started our first podcast, The Rogue Right, which, by the way, if you get offended very easily, do not watch The Rogue Right or listen to The Rogue Right. It's just us it's my alter ego. It's us playing around. It's a silly podcast, but we do it purely for fun. And when I first did that, I wasn't going to release it. But I had already told everybody it's releasing on September 1st. And I had all this resistance to why not. I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know how to get the sound off the video. I didn't know all this stuff. And I hate technology. You know what I did? I released it on the 1st. I just stopped editing. I don't think you guys care. I don't care. I don't think you guys care if you see me walking to the chair because I just turned on the camera or I'm talking to somebody in the background. I don't think you care. I think it just lends itself to you realizing that I'm just as human as you are. So I stopped. I only do one take. And if I mess up that take, who cares? I mess up that take. I make a mistake. You hear a Corvette in the background. I don't care. I don't care because this isn't about how perfect this is. It's about getting the message out to you guys. So the first thing we do is we make those lists, right? You make the lists, you keep going, and you make the list all the way up to a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, if you want. And things that you want to accomplish. And then you mark off every day. You mark off that list. And you know, it'll be fun. Pick some things that you want to get done in the near future, say 6 weeks. Okay. Things for today, things for tomorrow, things for next week, all the way up to 6 weeks. A diet. Do a diet plan for 6 weeks. Okay. Write it down. Write down whatever you're doing. It could be a diet plan. It could be fix a car. It could be put in wood floors in your house yourself. It could be whatever. I don't care. I don't care what the stuff is. You pick. Okay. You pick. So do that. And then what I want you to do is that every time you meet resistance, write it down. Write it down on that step. Whatever step you are along. So say your goal is a diet goal. Okay. You're meal prepping for the week. You go to Walmart, which I would never buy my fresh produce from Walmart, but buy it wherever you want. I usually like Kroger or Market Street, but write down the resistance because they're out of onions, or they're out of tomatoes, or they're out of chicken breasts, or they don't have a special kind of gluten-free, low-carb bread that you like. Anything that's a resistance trying to keep you from making your accomplishments. Write it down. Write it down. Then next to it, write how you overcame it or how you went forward anyway. Write that down. Okay? And look at it at the end of the week or at the end of 6 weeks, whenever you finish, and see how much resistance there was and how much of it you got through and how much of it really wasn't resistance as much as it was perceived resistance. I have questions every day. I have questions every day on resistance. I question myself every time I do a podcast. I'm not smart enough. Who am I to give anybody advice? Speaking of that, I am not a registered psychologist or psychiatrist, and I do not have a medical degree. I am just here telling you how to get through this stuff. What worked for me. And I find the more stuff you document, if you could get in to the habit of documenting. So say it's practicing. You're practicing for something. By the way, guys, I took my painkillers for my shoulder. So if you see me getting kind of glassy-eyed, I'm a little high right now. Luckily, I work through resistance even when I'm high. So work through that and then write down. And then at the end, go over all that resistance and see how much of it was just perceived resistance. Just like when you perceive people are talking about you, 95% of the times, you're not a blip on their radar. They ain't talking about you. They could care less about you. You'd be offended if you knew how little people talked about you. You'd be offended. Okay? There's my neighbor's Corvette. I hope you guys can hear it. It sounds bad. Me and my neighbor, me and Mo, we are big, loud engine exhaust guys. We are toxic masculinity. We are. Every time we rev that engine, we're like, screw the ozone. My kids can worry about the environment. Okay. I only take a few things. I only have a few things on my plate at a time. Right now, the environment is not one of them. Okay. I do not have more than one or two causes at a time. So if you don't like that, I'm sorry for all you justice warriors that got 85 things on there and 95 of them don't need to be fixed. But I worry about a few things at a time. And then once I get to a certain point where I felt I've helped that cause the most I can, boom, I go to another cause. That's what I do. Right now it's sex trafficking of children and abortion. Getting rid of abortion. Sorry. For those of you that have had an abortion or those of you that are pro-choice, I'm not trying to get an argument. I'm just telling you that's what I believe in. You can believe in whatever you want, and I won't hate you. Got it? So here it is. It's resistance, guys. Resistance. And how much of it is made up in your head. Things are going to happen. Good to get a flat tire on the way to work. Resistance. You're not going to have the food you thought you had in the fridge to make your meals because you're on a diet. Resistance. This is all stuff that can be controlled. The only thing we need to control is our attitude and our effort, right? Control your attitude and your effort. Everything else will fall in line. You don't have the food that you need in your house? Well, guess who's to blame for that? You forgot something or something went bad. It's still on you. Go take care of it. That easy, right? Oh, that adds 5 minutes to my day and I don't have time in the day. Okay, take your day, write down everything you do in that day, everything, including Facebook or Instagram or video games or watching The View or watching Monday Night Football, all those things. Write it all down. Then cross off the things you really don't have to do. You don't have to get on Facebook. You think you do, but you don't. You don't have to watch Monday Night Football, especially right now. You don't have to. I'm so sorry. It's the drugs, guys. You don't have to. Instagram, you can skip a few days. Unless you are marketing in some kind of marketing, you can skip it. Okay? Skip it, skip it, skip it. There's my dogs. Resistance. More resistance. Dogs in the back of my podcast. But guess what? That just means I live in a real place. My studio's in my house, and my dogs are enormous. Resistance. And that's not that big a resistance. I could edit it out, and I'm not gonna. Anybody that ever wants to meet my dogs, let me know. Okay? I got a little, it's it's the drugs, but I got a little off subject there. But the whole thing is about resistance, guys. Get it out of your way. Get it out of your head. Look at it as a positive. If you're getting flack, you're over the target. The more resistance, the closer you get to your accomplishments. Brush it off. Brush it off until you finish. You need a break. You need a break. You need a break. As soon as you're done, finish. If you had 5 things on the day, get them done. Then rest. Go to Facebook. Go watch something on Hulu. Okay? By the way, I am not sponsored by any of those people. That being said, if you're trying to accomplish if you're trying to accomplish your accomplishments, if you're trying to accomplish your stuff, if you're trying to get your list done and you get into a crisis, suicide hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Okay? If you get into a crisis and you just want to text, HOME, all caps, 741-741. Got it, guys? Write down your stuff. Write down your day. Get in the habit of it for about a week. Write down everything. I'll tell you what, if you want, pretty soon I'm starting public speaking again, and I'm going to have a coaching package that comes with that. If you want to do a free 15-minute call, let me know. You can message me, DM me. I believe it's the Coach's Spot on Instagram, or you could just look up Jason T. Powell on Instagram and I'll come up. DM me your email address and phone number, and I will be more than happy to schedule a 15-minute, get everything in line for free consultation. Tell you what you need to do, and then if you do those things, you're more than welcome. We'll do another call and we'll go over those things, and I'll tell you what needs to change and where we need to get going. Okay? Got it? All right. So anyway, that is this week's show. I am Jason Powell, and this has been The Broken Joker. Oh, if you check us out on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment. Okay? If you don't do IG, you can try to reach me through YouTube, also our YouTube channel. Look up The Rogue Right. The Broken Jokers under the playlists. If you want to watch The Broken Jokers. If not, just check out The Broken Joker on iTunes and subscribe. But you can reach me. I'm reachable. Okay, people? Sounds good. Thanks again for joining me on The Broken Joker, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.